Okay, now we've loaded in. What I'm going to go through is I'll just go through a brief startup procedure, and then I will show you some stuff regarding the IFA. What do they call it? Sorry, my brain is temporarily escaping me. Where you're doing your navigation alignment, but I'll just do with the startup. My mouse is not showing, but you'll see me point to things. So what I'm going to do for the startup, the first thing that we need to do is, if I'll click on this, so we come down over here where it says, you can see where it click battery switch. Right click on that so it goes forward. You should see a little green dot with an up and a down arrow. Just click on that so it goes forward. You will see the voltage meter go up. It's just under the brake details here. Leave that there for now. Come over to the left hand side near where the throttle is, and come back a bit, and you'll see here where it says fuel pump switch, and there's one there as well. That one we need, but it's already forward, so you don't have to touch it. So for these two here, just right click until they're forward. Come back and you'll see this the fuel shut-off lever. Right click down, and this button here where it says the DECS switch, just right click on that so it goes up. So what you need to do is, then coming up the left hand side, I would get you to turn the parking brake off, and that should go forward. So it should be there. That's off. That's now on. And come across to the APU generator, which should be there. Right click on that. What you should hear is, it sounds like the engine's spooling up, but it's not. At this point, if you want, it's up to you. I kind of do this. I come back here for I think it's the seat ground safety lever. Just right click and make it go down. You can shut the canopy at this point. You don't have to. It's up to you. I just shut it at this point and come back to the front. Now, you'll see here master caution going off and the master warning going off. Before we turn the engine on, I was watching one of the videos. They kind of said you needed to click these until they kind of turn off. So with the master warning, that's when they're both lights have been extinguished, come down here to the engine start switch and right click. And you should notice, and then I would say put on the park brake and put your throttle a little way forward. But you will see the brake and the numbers start coming up. Next step is the flaps power switch. Just make sure that those are working. Turn your anti-skid switched on. A lot of the other switches are already done for you. I'll leave the IFA for the moment. I'll come down that in a moment. Turn the brightness switches up. I found that if I go too fast on the mouse scroll, well, sometimes you lose sight of the little green circle with the dot and the arrows on it. If that happens and you feel like, I can't do anything, there's an option in here. Type in, I think it's click. Just type in click. So yeah, clickable. I just set that to Q. So if you just get a mouse and you can't use your center scroll wheel, this will click that mode in and out. So I'll give you an example. You can't really see him, but he's in, he's out, he's in, and I can obviously bring up your engine. Yeah, you want to click on that MP button there to bring up your engine data. You can see that that should all be within range, etc. You can do this for the left hand side. It's up to you as to where you want to put this information. For me, I generally put the engine stuff on that side and navigation on the left hand side. Don't forget to wind your display brightness control up. Obviously you've got, when you load into the Tarawa, all the default radio things are loaded in, so that includes Marshall, LSO, the JTACs, the AWACS, the whole lot. Oh, helps if I you have your guard channel down here on channel 2, so you got, that's your guard channel. Just click on that back to the Tarawa tower. Now I just turn all those on to standby. Click that. When you, as you see when you click this, turn this guy on, the master caution comes on. So if I do it again, no, he hasn't done it this time, but usually the first time it comes on, just click the button, you'll be fine. Coming down to the navigation side of things, there is the DMT toggle on and off. We want that on, so right click and up. We want the FLIR power switch up. Now, I usually just go straight into IFA. I don't do ground or C. The reason for that is not because I'm silly or anything, but I do have issues, and I'll show you that in a moment. I usually just go straight round to IFA, go into EHSD, turn that off. For a moment, yes, you will see nothing, but it should actually populate once it's been aligned. So while we're waiting to do that, let me see if I can do this. Turn your brightness display. I usually turn this on the HUD all the way up. I leave that where it is. You don't necessarily, well, I usually leave this about here, and I usually set that to radar height. At the moment, that's still doing its thing. If I go to data, excuse me, while my wife's just come home, I go to aircraft, it'll show me that. But if I take that off, we'll go, take data off and come back, it says that. And usually, if we have a look, you'll find that there's no waypoint in there. For example, if I go and enter the TACAN, hang on for a moment. I'll just pause for a moment. Yes, interesting noises in the background. So I'm just turning the TACAN on. So that's my wife laughing at me, which is all right. The 73 is the TACAN for the Tarawa. Hit enter, obviously on. Now if you take data off, you'll find that there it is, and the map has come up now showing us that everything is aligned. You can see the TACAN there. Now if we take the TACAN off, there's actually no, well, we have no waypoints entered in, but I'll just enter a waypoint now. Hit data, type in 77 if you know there's not any more waypoints. Hit enter, and it's going to show you that that's the first waypoint. So if you come up to your ODU button number 2 and press position, click on north, then start dialing in your coordinates. Enter, position, easting. Now for easting, the first one you have to do 3 digits. So the first digit's 37, so obviously 0, 3, 7, 5, 9, 0, 2, enter. Now you can enter elevation here. It says sometimes it actually comes up with the elevation. You can leave it at that if you want. And then if you come back, now it'll show that if you hit MKO, it'll show you that to the waypoint. Obviously you've got your scroll button here. Hopefully it'll come up and tell you. Yeah, there you go. That's your scroll button. Obviously kilometres. And go from there. Now, I'm going to come down and just go back to the menu button. Go to EHSD. I'm going to take the IFA off. Sorry, wrong way round. And you'll see that, oh, there's nothing there. Or if I actually go to click ground, this is probably going to make a fool of me. If I go, actually, let me do C first. Go to ground crew, request ground electric power, turn it on.
Chief, turn on the copy.
Yeah, mine tends to be a bit funny. It's going to turn it on.
Ground power is now on.
So, if I go to C alignment, oh, it's making a fool of me. I'm sorry about that, everybody. This was giving me grief before. So what we need to do is wait until this runs down and tells us that it's okay. It'll probably take about 2 minutes. Sorry to bore you, stupid. You don't need the ground power, obviously, if you're doing this on the ground. Obviously, you're at an air base, you can click just INS ground. Personally, I just go straight to IFA. It's just easier. And go from there. Let's just wait and see what happens here. Cue music, etc. Once that's done, that's obviously telling me something from a radar perspective. Just waiting. Because when that's done, that message should change and tell you that we're good to go. Unless it's going to make a liar of me. Let me just check my Chuck's guide. Yep, there we go. Looks like stuff's happening. Waiting. My head's down in Chuck's guide at the moment, so I think there's an option for C. Here we go, CINS. We just have to wait for it to, there we go, do its time, and it'll take as long as it needs to take. It should say OK, and it'll probably take about 3 minutes. So, sorry you get to listen to me nag on. Is there anything else we need to go over in the cockpit? Nothing else. Usually a lot of the things that if you do the auto start, which is Windows home button, it can take about 10 minutes to kick in. As you saw with maybe the startup, it didn't take that long to get started. Usually if you're doing this at the start, do this, go and get other things done and come back and wait for it. Usually after that, you might either want to refuel, rearm, depending upon the mission. And we'll take it from there. And I'll just leave this for the moment. And here we go. There you go. We're done. So if we come out of data, we should have our map. No, it doesn't have to be a map. Where are we? Let me just see if I've lost all my waypoint data. I probably have. No, let's have a look. Let's just check it. Waypoint 1. There you go. Should all be there. If you type in waypoint, menu, EHSD, why is waypoint not working? Good question. Let me just consult Chuck's guide because the map should be coming up. Oh, that's right, I've got to turn the ground power off. Sorry, oops. switch INS mode to IFA then. Okay, once the OK appears, you consider complete. Okay, we then go to, there you go, make the request, go to ground crew, ground electric power, off.
Chief, turn off the ground.
And we should be done.
Copy.
So usually if I'm flying circuits around the boat, I just leave
Power is now off.
the TACAN on. If I'm flying, obviously I'll go to a waypoint and track the waypoint. Other than that, I will leave it to you. If you have any questions, please ask me. Yeah, generally I just go straight to IFA. Does the trick for me. Everything else is generally fine. If you need some help, let me know. Especially when coming over here doing two-fingered checks, you're doing your acceleration check. I won't cover that now. Menu, obviously, if you want to do your VSTOL, that'll tell you your VTOL weight, your weight. That tells you, there's stuff that, because you can't see my mouse, shows you got the NRAS at the top there, wet and dry. It's telling you what your speed is to kick in the 60-degree nozzle. Yeah, I'll leave it there for now and talk to you soon.